Welcome back to the Sports Ranter. Thank you to our hosts, Jacob, Nico, Drew, and myself, Ben, for joining us here today after a wild card weekend. And real quick, I want to say thank you to our subscribers around the world. We hit a huge milestone of 16,000 subscribers right here at the Sports Ranter. So we're continuing to grow and be here every week. But wow, what a crazy, crazy wild card weekend. We have so much to talk about. We have coach hirings, we have Sam Darnold, we have AJ Brown reading books. We got all kinds of stuff happening, guys, around the league right now. But we got to start it off with wild card weekend. Okay, there's so much talk about Sam Darnold. I know Drew was hating on him ever since their first loss of the season. Just wasn't a believer, but a 14 team win, just really shit in the bed the last 2 weeks. Sam Darnold losing out on that contract money. But we also got to talk about these spooky Chargers. I don't know if we were all watching that, and something was happening that was a little funny about that. So I know Drew's got situations with Isaiah, but Nick, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you. Wild card weekend. Let's kind of cover what happened with the Chargers, and if you can, if you want to lead us into Sam Darnold or pass it along, so much to talk about, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny because I think I've always been a little bit of a Herbert, skeptic and just you know th- with all this talent that everybody tells me he's got, and there's always excuses for him. There's always excuses for him, right? It was the coaching, and then it was the defense, right? They couldn't stop the run. Remember that for a few years, and then it was, because he had weapons at first, right? He had Keenan Allen, he had Mike Williams. It wasn't the weapons, it was the defense. And then if it wasn't the defense, it was the coaching. If it wasn't the coaching, now he doesn't have weapons, and now whatever. So I think everybody was ready to finally be like, this is it, and it should have been. If I'm being honest, as a Raider fan, it should have been. You're playing Houston, that everybody agreed on was the weakest division winner. Everybody agreed upon was shaky coming in. Everybody agreed upon that not a very good year at all. I mean, you're the favorite. As the lower seed, you're the favorite. You got Jim Harbaugh as your coach now, so you don't have a coaching advantage. If anything, you have a coaching or disadvantage. You have a coaching advantage now. I'm sorry. Quarterbacks get the credit, quarterbacks get the blame. Dude, Justin Herbert, you got to go win that game. Houston was trying to give it to you, and you get 6 points. You don't punch it in, right? Like you should have. They could have stepped on their throats at the beginning of that game when Houston was not there. They didn't come to play. They weren't awake yet, and the Chargers just keep charging it. They're just settling for field goals, dropping balls, doing what Charger things do when they could have. Dude, they should have blown that game out. And I hate to say that as a Raider fan, they should have won that game easily. And what's ironic about it, it went the exact opposite way. Even though you see the evidence, like Houston ran away with it. That's what doesn't make any sense. Like the Chargers should have ran away with it, and then Houston ends up running away with it. And it's something about either Justin Herbert's like leadership. We were texting back and forth that it factor. No one. The reason why we call it the it factor is because you can't put your finger on it, right? We don't know what exactly it is. It's the intangibles. I don't know if he doesn't get the guys fired up. I don't know if he just, his aura on the sideline. Like I don't ever see him really screaming at nobody. And I know I'm not knocking his personality. People are gonna say that's not who he is. That's fine, but who he is not working, right? Who he is with this elite talent that he has is just not working. You have 5 years in the league now, and in the biggest games, they're up, and everybody wants to just look at like they're up what 31-0 last game, like 31-3 or whatever last year. Dude, that's also a quarterback thing, right? Like I know you say, oh, the defense gave up all the points. Okay, hold on to the ball longer. Make one more throw. Make one more first down. Make one more score one more touchdown. You win that game. Like you, you know, I don't think like the all the elite quarterbacks that we have, like they don't lose those games.
True.
You just don't lose those games. So it was and the to sum it all up, and like you're saying, the spooky part of it is like, okay, so we're texting back and forth. I'm saying he doesn't have the it factor, and right on cue, he throws a dart like he always does, throws a dart to McConkey on 3rd and forever. 86-yard touchdown. The safety takes a horrible angle. I don't know what he was doing, but McConkey just goes touchdown. Okay,
Don't give it to the safety. Don't
there's
put it. That was all talent.
well, he did take a horrible angle, but no, I said he threw a dart. That was a dart. What I'm saying is it should have been 18-yard first down, not an 86-yard touchdown. That's all I'm saying about the safety. Whatever, dude. So again, as a Charger, it's 3rd and forever. You have no momentum. Like the game is like you're done. He throws a dart, 86-yard touchdown. That's literally the definition of momentum swing.
Yes.
You're gonna take it. Justin Herbert's gonna get hot. You're gonna come back on this game. At that point, I think it's only a 10-point game, so it's not like out of reach or whatever. And you get a blocked extra point, take it back for 2 points. Stuff. Like if that's not the definition of chargering, like I don't know what is. And I'll just pass it to Jake on that.
I got a different take on it. The Chargers as a whole, Justin Herbert, like I honestly don't know. I haven't heard one way or the other, like what his leadership's like in the locker room, like what the guys think of him. I really haven't. So I guess it's not really fair to judge. I know that he got up and, he said, it's on me. He didn't put it on his guys. But let's take the Chargers as a whole for a sec. We're putting it like on Herbert, and you got to win games and this and that. If the Chargers had gone 5-12 this year, nobody would have even been like, wow, that's surprising. You got a new coach. You just lost both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen last year. You had 2 running backs that were coming off of injuries and age and all that. You got a really young offensive line. You got a defense that had a lot of questions with injuries and things like that. Nobody would have been surprised if they went 5-12. So to sit here and say and Nick, I'll get to where I agree with you. To say that like Herbert, just doesn't have it. Like Herbert threw 3 picks all year. Herbert led this team into the playoffs when nobody would have batted an eye if they had won 5 games this year. That being said, the losses, the performance of Herbert in those losses was awful. The performance of the Chargers the last 2 years in the playoffs is just mystifying. It is so baffling. Because I went back and I looked at the Jacksonville stuff and all that again, and it is so crazy, like beyond freaking crazy. But yeah, his performance.
Even going back like to the Marlon McCree fumble, and all, it's been going on. It's not just 2 years. It's been going on for 20 years.
But I really do believe, and I believe that this is what the thought about the Chargers was at the beginning of the season. We know now that Harbaugh is the guy. I think that we should be excited that Harbaugh's the guy. But I'm sorry, Herbert or no Herbert, you got the best. You got the most juice out of that orange that you could get because of Herbert, and I think they just need to get a few more pieces. I understand the thing about making excuses for Herbert and all that, and you got to win and things like that. I understand that, but at the same time, it's like if Herbert went out and the Chargers had a terrible year, it's like, what do you expect? Like it's you just don't have those kind of tools yet, and it wouldn't have surprised anybody if you'd had a terrible year.
Yeah, well. Go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry.
No, that's all. I agree with Nick on the fact that you got to come through in those big games. Can't throw 4 picks. You can't throw more picks than you throw all season in one game, even if they go through guys' hands and this and that. But I just think as a whole, if this game aside, yes, they should have won, but they shouldn't have even been there. And so that's where I'm at.
We're going to move on to the next one. I'm going to pass it to you, Drew. I'm trying to find the right time to talk about Sam Darnold, but real quick. I obviously predicted the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets mess. At the beginning of this year, I also said that Jim Harbaugh was hired as a sales pitch for the LA Chargers. And I'm still sticking by that. So we'll pay attention. We'll see what happens. Spanos is being sued by his family. We'll see what happens. But Drew, if you could take the time to turn your mic on, I know it's okay. Don't worry about your boy. But we got to talk about Sam Darnold, man. You were the one guy that was hating on him all season long. Even though they were winning 14 games, kicking butt, their first loss, you're like, F Sam Darnold. And then he shows up the way he did the last 2 games of the season, missing out on a huge contract. So, dude, what? Was it just Sam Darnold, or was it something else?
It's not just Sam Darnold. There's more to it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, though, like, when you're supposed to be the guy, you know what I mean? And when things matter the most, that's when a true player kind of normally comes out and plays, you know? And I'm not saying Sam Darnold's terrible. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's worth this 40+ million that everybody's talking about. He can go be a bridge quarterback for somewhere. Well, he can go be a bridge quarterback for somewhere. But it's just, the thing is with that is, you're settling for mediocrity. Like, if you want to settle for mediocrity, then sure, go ahead and do that. But I mean, we all have our takes on how we would handle situations. For me, I'm always a person where if you don't have the quarterback, you go and draft it. You know what I mean? And I know there's some other takes on this podcast where it's like, well, just become relevant. Nah, like, for me, it's Super Bowl or bust almost every year. Like, if your team's not there, then your team's not there. But Sam Darnold's probably going to still get paid. I think if I'm Minnesota, I think I try to keep him. I think I try to keep him for 25, 30 million. I mean, you got J.J. McCarthy on a rookie deal. There's no guarantee he's going to come back right away. It's going to come back and be perfect, or he's going to have any setbacks or this, that, and the other. To put your team, still have the relevancy, still have playoff, aspirations. I think Sam Darnold makes the most sense there. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a team that tried to go swing and try to get him. He's still, 27, 28, maybe 30, but I don't even know how old he is, but he's got to be in those, later 20s. Like, he still has the chance to be decent in this league, but is he going to win you a Super Bowl? No. Can he win you a couple playoff games? Maybe. But you got to have everything around him. I'm not sold on him. And I think those 2 games just kind of showed the whole national media and NFL GMs, like, hey, you know what? He's still Sam Darnold at the end of the day.
So I think he's 27, and to have his, I'll play a little bit of a defense for Sam Darnold, even though I agree with Andrew. I don't think he's great. What separates the great ones? Well, here's what it is in my mind. What separates the great ones to, say, average, or even some of the good ones, is how do you handle pressure? That's all there is to it. How do you handle pressure? You can blitz Patrick Mahomes all day. I'm pretty sure he's going to figure it out and he's going to eat you alive. Good luck. How do you handle pressure? Now, if your O-line is just decimated and, it's a little bit of combination of both. He got pressured 26 times last night.
That's insane.
That's not quarterback. Now,
that's insane.
Put 10 of them on Darnold. He held on to the ball too long. Okay, there's still 16 other pressures. That's too much. That's too much. The O-line didn't come to play. I don't know what the Rams did. Obviously, I don't get to watch, the film and the coach's tape, but they obviously were doing something all game, or they figured something out on film that they're like, they can't block us if we do this. Or it was just, I'm better than you. I don't know which one, because we didn't see this all year. Like, we didn't say Minnesota has an O-line problem. I never said it. Jake, I don't think you said it. Like, we never sat here while they're winning 14 games and said, well, that Minnesota O-line's not very good. Like, that wasn't the case. So I don't know what happened in this game. Or, again, give Sean McVay, his defensive coordinator, like, they're geniuses over there. Like, they figured something out.
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Darnold's face all day.
I'll tell you what happened, okay? Sam Darnold went 14-3, okay? In the regular season, his losses were to Detroit twice and the LA Rams.
Yeah, he only lost to 2 teams.
Wow.
So he lost twice to 2 teams. The teams he beat: Green Bay, Seattle, Chicago, Atlanta, Arizona, Chicago, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Indiana, and the Jets. They didn't play, they're winning. They didn't beat any high caliber teams. Now, I agree. He's a bridge quarterback, and Nick, what I'll say, I agree with you is, when Tampa Bay signed Baker Mayfield, he was a bridge quarterback. Baker didn't have a great career before. What separates Baker from a guy like Sam Darnold? I think you hit it on the head. It's exactly how Baker Mayfield deals with pressure. That guy will walk into and through the fire, and that seems like when the best Baker Mayfield comes out. The other thing is he has a team around him with pieces. Darnold has that, but the other thing is time. I think this is his third season now, second or third, but so I think, Drew, you're right. Give Darnold 1 year, $30 million. Let him go test free agency if another team is going to give him that kind of money. But yeah, sign him on 1 year, $30 million. See if he makes any steps forward, and see if JJ McCarthy's healthy. That's the best.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea, to be honest, dude. I mean, like I said, we said all year, I thought it was mostly Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell is an amazing coach, all right?
Yeah.
And he elevated Sam Darnold to this. Okay, if he can elevate Sam Darnold to this in year one, you can only project. I'm not saying he's going to become something, but like you got to assume he's got to take some type of step forward. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win 14 games again. I'm just saying he's going to know the offense that much better. He may be able to handle pressure more better. He'll be more efficient. He'll be like, there's things where when you know an offense and a playbook for 2 years, you take that next level up here. It doesn't, obviously the ball's got to bounce your way a lot to win 14 games, but doesn't mean they can't be in the playoffs. And what set Baker apart, and I know the games are different, but like Baker won that playoff game, Jake. Like, you win a playoff game, that's just another notch in your cap. Sure. Like, hey, I got us here. I won us a playoff game. Yeah, we lost the next round. So that's where, again, like Ben was saying, like, he lost his money because say he wins this playoff game, I think he gets paid. Yeah. Like, that's just. I know it's only one game, but it's just like that's
he didn't
how
even
the
have to
NFL
go.
works.
He didn't even have to go to the visitor stadium. They were at a neutral site.
I know. They were saying it was 50-50. It wasn't even like.
Yeah, you can hear it. You heard it. So.
Well, look, guys, I've got up the entire bracket up, okay, because obviously we're discussing last card's wild card weekend, and we really got to discuss the remaining 8 teams that are in. Highlighting, I think, Jake, the Buffalo and Baltimore game. I mean, we'll go into the predictions a little bit, predictions a bit later, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that Kansas City is going to be in the AFC Championship game against either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. We're all going to get this treat one more time, I believe. On the NFC side, it's a little bit different. Obviously, we were talking last week about the Rams spoiling the Vikings, and it happened. And obviously the wild card of Washington beating Tampa Bay. Okay, so I don't know who wants to take the reins, but I'll go ahead. But I'll go ahead, Jake. What's going to happen this week in this Baltimore-Buffalo game?
As much as it breaks my heart, it really breaks my heart.
Well, hold on, Jake. You said you were scared last week, so I want to know what you are this week.
I was shocked that Denver laid over like that, but watching the Buffalo game all year, it's like, or watching Buffalo all year long, they have to be able to run the ball. Like, if Josh Allen has to go back and pass every single time, they just don't have the talent out there. I don't think it's going to be close because these teams are both built the same. But I think Baltimore is better in the run just with Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry can go play just smash football, and I don't think that Buffalo is going to be able to stop them. I think the winner of this game gives you your league MVP for sure.
I'm going to say this right now, Jake. Yes. This show and the world and our 16,000 subscribers is going to get the rant of all rants ever. Okay. Hypothetically, if it's Chiefs versus Baltimore, I'm saying Baltimore beats Buffalo. Sorry. Okay. Here's why. And not because of their better team. Here's what's going to happen. AFC Championship game, Chiefs versus Baltimore. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. We already saw this last year. They're not going to run the fucking ball. I guarantee it, you guys. I'm pulling this out there right now. I'm putting out there the rants of all rants. If it ends up being Chiefs-Baltimore for the AFC Championship game and Baltimore decides not to run the ball, I'm done. All right?
Well, listen.
I'm done.
That's the other side of the coin with this game is Baltimore also goes into some playoff games and they charger it it's like what did you do? What just happened? Buffalo's been hard to watch because it's hard to really gauge where they are. They were another team, wasn't projected to do very much in the preseason. They played great, well beyond expectations. But it's like they've had the games like the games with the Rams where it's like the defense couldn't stop them. And so it's just like who's going to show up? I still have all the faith in the world in Josh Allen, as much as anybody on Baltimore should have faith in Lamar Jackson. Those offenses, it's like they both don't have like a stellar receiver. They both like to run the ball, and they both have quarterbacks that runs all over. So it's an awesome game. It scares me because like I can not ever remember being this invested in a team since early 2000 Chargers. Okay. But yeah, and Buffalo's beaten Kansas City. So, I mean, if we don't want to see Kansas City back, everybody better be rooting for Buffalo because they've beaten them once, and I think they're going to go in and bash their heads in, honestly.
I'm sorry, but speaking of beating Kansas City, Drew, you're the one that's been treading that Houston is probably the best team to beat them. It looked like the Chargers were going to hand them down their first loss in that division, and we all saw them choke. So, what's the argument, man? Like, how is this Texans team going to overcome the Chiefs and the refs?
It wasn't live, but I told you guys right after the show ended, I think if there's a team that's sneaky, dude, it's the Texans.
You did say that.
The Texans team, to me, I feel like is extremely underrated. It always comes down to C.J. Stroud, right? I mean, is he going to be the C.J. Stroud where he doesn't throw any picks and is efficient? I think they have a good chance to win that game. I really do. DeMeco Ryans led defense with a lot of those young rushers that they have. I think it can give Mahomes an actual fit. And let's be real. I mean, the Chiefs' offense is never really that stellar. Like, they haven't been stellar in the last 2 years. Like, they're putting up 20 points-ish a game. Like, it ain't really anything crazy. Like, I think if CJ can make a couple big plays, get a couple a home run hitter. For me, they have to start fast. If they don't start fast, they're going to lose the game. But if they can quiet down that crowd a little bit and they can get into their zone, I really, truly do think the Texans have a decent chance to win that game. And I know it's going to sound crazy, but I think the Commanders have a decent chance to do the same thing with the Lions. I really do. I think these two heavy underdogs have a real chance to upset both those number one seeds. And I truly mean that. I'm not just saying that just for the show or this, that, and the other. I think the Commanders can go in there, and I think they can beat them, and I really think the Texans can beat the Chiefs.
Texans defense has to set the tone. It's not about the Texans offense. Their defense has to get Mahomes off the field. But anyway, go ahead, Ben.
It's okay, Nick. What's going to happen with these next 4 games that are happening? What's going to go on, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch more on the NFC. You guys kind of hit the AFC a lot. I'll just say on the Houston game, I agree with Jake. Dude, it's got to start with that D-line. If they get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, they can win that game. No one's scared of the Chiefs. They're not scary. 15 wins, whatever. They won 11, I think, one-score games. Like, every team was right there. They're just you just when they give you an opportunity, you got to take advantage. And I think that's what a lot of teams didn't do. I will say the Chiefs are the best situational football team out there. That's why they win. They know how to win. They know how if they need a first down, they're going to get it, all that stuff. So when they throw a pick, you need to go score. When they fumble the ball, you need to go score. When they go for it on fourth down, you stuff them, you need to take advantage. Those things have happened this year, and teams haven't taken advantage of it. So that's what the Houston one. On the NFC side, I think it's really simple, and I think it's really easy. Battle of the trenches. Detroit, Washington can't match their trench. It's the O-line's going to push them around, and vice versa. And then the D-line is on Philly, same thing. So I think for me it's pretty easy because the Phillies O-line and D-line, and the thing with Philly, and the only thing that can maybe make them lose, and it's hard to say, is Jalen Hurts. Because he's doing, like, he's almost being a game manager, which is fine because they're winning, right? The 14-3. Like, I'm not gonna knock that. Win the game, but if they aren't a tight one, like Jake says, and the Rams are putting up points, and they're gonna need Jalen to deliver.
Rams beat Philly.
I just haven't seen. No, I understand that. And I just haven't seen.
No, they're going to.
Oh yeah. I mean, I already know that you've been on the Rams since before the playoffs. Um, I really think Philly will. If Philly can
but
control the trenches, they'll win the game, just
but
like Detroit will.
is this
But if
this
it
is
comes
this
close and we have to rely on Jalen Hurts, it's going to be a tough one.
is this Saquon Barkley's first playoff appearance?
No, he just won last week.
Obviously, but it's his first
Oh,
time
with
in the
with
playoffs
the
this
Giants.
Yeah,
season,
yeah, yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they made sense for him to hold out that last game and this, that, and the other. Like, you want to actually have some sort of legacy in the playoffs. So like, I get why they held Saquon out, and Saquon in general, like the maturity wise, it's like, hey, dude, I want to actually make an actual run in postseason. So
Well, yeah, he could
I
have had
get
a
it.
60-yard touchdown, and
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. Take the fucking touchdown, bro. What the hell's that?
Listen, guys, listen. It's this whole Philly talk, okay? I don't know what's going on with A.J. Brown, but they ain't throwing the ball. They're not throwing the ball to him. 3
they
targets.
don't need to.
Yeah, they don't need to, and you're right. But the Eagles just lost. I keep calling Philadelphia Philly. The Eagles just lost that corner, DeJean, ruptured Achilles. I'm just saying, if the Rams go in and they can slow down Saquon and put some points on the board, it's going to be real interesting. Because Philly's offense, to me, outside of Saquon, and I understand he's been fantastic, but if the Rams can go in and slow Saquon down to a point and and the actual Rams offense show up, and you got to think, we keep shitting on the Rams all year long. Cooper Kupp was hurt in the beginning of the year. Puka went on IR. Like,
He had one fucking catch.
who?
Cooper Kupp.
I know, and I don't get it, but they won. So
Sorry, like, dude, these two offenses fucking suck. Like, they're terrible offenses. They really are. Like,
Right.
Matt Stafford hasn't done a single thing. He had a decent game last game. Jalen Hurts is underperforming. Yes, their defenses are both elite. I'm not going to deny that. Their defenses are legit for both squads. But when the quarterbacks have to show up, I don't trust either one of these quarterbacks. And I know what Seth's going to say. And I know
the Rams have the more well-rounded offense.
But guys,
Playing more well-rounded.
coaching is all about playing to your strengths. That's what good coaches do. Okay. 2 years ago, when Jalen Hurts had to throw it across the yard, they threw it across the yard. They went out and got Saquon for a reason. Yes, you could say he's not playing great or he's not efficient. As long as they keep winning games, you can't criticize them. Like, it's just like Detroit, right? Goff is going to be 17 of 17. That's all he's going to be. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to win the game, right? They're just going to throw these nice, efficient passes that Goff is comfortable with, and then they're going to pound you in the trenches, and they're going to beat you. That's just what they do. And you got to go out with losing with what your strength is. And that's been their strength. So who cares if they don't put up 40 points? I could care less. Did you win 21-17? Cool. That's why I hate the Chiefs so much, because they're not that great and they keep winning. And I'm like, okay, I need one of these teams to finally take advantage of a not so great team. But until somebody does, I can't say the Chiefs aren't a great team until somebody finally knocks them in their teeth and says, yeah, you're not the champ. Now the Bills did it in the regular season. Now I needed them to do it in the postseason. And I'll say one thing about the Rams, because Jake's playing with house money, because the Rams is the biggest wild card team there is. And when I mean by wild card team, I mean you don't know what you're gonna get. And Jake alluded to that earlier. And so I'll end it with this. If the Rams win, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, like you could see that, everything that Jake said to this and that. If the Rams lose by 28, we're gonna be like, but they were the Rams, and they went that strong, and they started 1-4, and they were just happy to get this far. And so they're the ultimate like house money team, because that's how they play. We've seen amazing games, and we've seen them get their butt whooped in other games. So
real quick, guys, I have to honor the new chatter that we have. They asked a question. I think it's pretty obvious because Nick already kind of put point on it. They want to know, out of the 8 teams remaining, what team do you want least to win? I'm going to go ahead and say I'm okay if Houston wins, if Baltimore wins, Buffalo wins, if Washington, Detroit, LA wins, if Philly wins, I'm happy. If any of those 7 fucking teams win, I'm stoked. Somebody else answer the damn question.
It's the Chiefs. I hope the Chiefs fucking lose. I would love to praise everything Andrew said about Houston. I would love to praise everything he said.
Yes.
If I don't have to see Any more Kelsey, any more Swift, any
Yes.
more Mahomes.
Please.
Just go away till next season. We'll see you in the playoffs next season.
I agree. Anybody else want to chime in?
I agree. I'll go real quick. I agree. I said, but just again, I'm not contradicting myself because I analyze football the way it is. But if you're asking me who I don't also want to win, fuck Sirianni, dude. I don't want the Eagles to win. I hate Sirianni.
Wow.
He's a douchebag.
Did you hear that, Seth?
The team.
Did you hear that, Seth?
The team, and I'm gonna analyze it. I'm gonna analyze it honestly.
That would be my second choice.
I hate Sirianni,
dude. Nick, we got Nick.
The Chiefs.
Imagine Sirianni holding a trophy. Get out of here.
Nick, we have one consistent chatter in our box all season long, and you're shitting on him, bro.
No,
you're fucking shitting on Seth.
The NFC team. I still don't want the Chiefs to win, and I want Buffalo to win because I think they have a better chance of beating KC. But honestly, I don't even want it to get to that. I'm with Andrew. Come on, Houston. Let's go. Let's just knock them out, get it out of our misery so we can enjoy the last 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah, for me, it's simple. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs are a very slight margin ahead of the Eagles. I mean, everybody knows the history of the Niners and the Eagles, so I mean, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I can't stand Sirianni, dude. The guy is, oh my god, I can't stand that guy. So yeah, for me, it's Chiefs by a slight degree, and then the Eagles, dude. Fuck the Eagles. Can't stand them.
Even though I was rooting for the Eagles, if in that one World, because I still would rather see the Eagles win than the stupid Chiefs. And I thought they had them a couple years ago.
If it comes down to the Eagles and the Chiefs, I mean, I want just because of Saquon, dude. That guy deserves to hold.
Yeah, I'll be wearing green. I'll be wearing green that day.
To tell you the truth, guys, as a football fan, and as somebody who just loves like the underdog story, the one team that I do want to win, that I'm rooting for, that I'll go buy a jersey for, is the Detroit Lions. We're talking one team that really deserves it. Sticking to their style of play, right? Coming up and biting your kneecaps on the way up, right? Like, so I truly, truly believe in Dan Campbell and what they've been building for the past 3 years. And that's what I want to see win, is a team that does it the right way. Mind you, David Montgomery's coming back next week, Drew, so never mind his Commanders upset. David Montgomery coming back. All I'm saying is I would love to see the Detroit Lions hoist the Lombardi Trophy. I think that's good for fans. That's good for the NFL. And F the Chiefs, right? My God. So, but anyways, with that, guys, there's a couple more things to talk about. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the playoff bracket, you guys?
Nah, we're good on that.
Excellent. So there's a few things that happened. Seth, maybe you can join us. What book was A.J. Brown reading on the sidelines? And also, Vrabel says that as a new head coach, he wants to take away this entitlement from the Patriots. I don't know what he meant by that. I mean, the Patriots haven't been shit ever since Tom Brady left, and so I don't really see any entitlement. But that's what he said in his press conference. So, Drew, it looks like you're ready to roll. What do you think about A.J. Brown and Vrabel?
I mean, like Jake said, this whole podcast, this whole season is A.J. Brown's. He's pampered, bro. Like, I don't really understand what's going on with the Eagles. Like you said, like Nick said. I mean, I guess they don't need Jalen Hurts or this, that, and the other, so they're not throwing the ball as much or whatever. But it just like. It's just one more reason to hate Philly. Like, that's really what it is. Like, dude, what are you doing, bro? This is a playoff football game, and you're over here reading a book. And apparently he's done it all season. I saw some article saying that he's reading a book all season or something like that on the sidelines. But, like, it probably does take that guy a whole year to read a book, so it does make sense. But I don't know, bro. It's weird. With the whole Vrabel situation, that's the coach they should have hired in the first place. It was kind of... I was actually pretty surprised that he took it right away. I thought he'd go out there and listen to a couple of other teams and see what they had to offer. But, you know, with him having the Patriots legacy or whatnot, I guess it makes sense for him to want to go there. But I think there's better teams that probably would have wanted him, and there's a better roster that you could have taken over. But that's his choice. As far as other head coaching stuff, I think Deion Sanders is going to be really interesting now that they let go of Mike McCarthy. Is McCarthy going to go and join the Bears? That's to be determined. I think that's a good natural fit, to be honest with you. I think I think McCarthy's decent with quarterbacks. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what goes on there. Apparently, there's some rumor mill stuff that Robert Sala's getting some head coaching interviews from the Raiders and the Jags. So I don't know if my dream of having Sala back as defense coordinator will happen, but we shall see what happens with that.
Yeah. Jesus says FLA. Okay, we can't have them winning the World Series, and we can't have them winning the Super Bowl. So F the Rams. I'm sorry, LA Rams. I'm sorry. Okay. But Jake, what do you think about AJ Brown, dude? What the hell's going on?
Well, this is exactly why, like, yeah, you go with what works. The running game works, and all this and that. But you know what? AJ Brown was a big part of that passing game that got them there last season too, to the playoffs last season. This is not a thing where it's just, hey, when we need you, man, we're going to turn to you and all that. AJ Brown is checked out. He has been checked out. It's been visible by his mannerisms on the field. It's visible. It's visible that he's frustrated. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are or what the coaches are saying to defend you or anything like that. If you're sitting there reading a book on the sideline, and you're this NFL superstar that got all this money, and you think you're the top receiver in the league, you're reading iPads, you're looking at playbooks. If you're trying to get your team, hyped up, like, you don't just sit there in the back and just read a book. He is mentally checked out because he's not getting targets. Everybody knows it. Like, I don't know what else there is to say. This is why I think that the Eagles are vulnerable to be upset, because I think they need it. They're going to need A.J. Brown. I mean, I think they would. How can you not figure out a way to kind of incorporate both? You know what I mean? Like if you, it blows my mind. I don't know. So I as a fan, I don't like it. I don't want to see, our top receivers sitting there reading a book. As a coach, I wouldn't like it. And if I'm this guy's teammate and I'm sitting there going, this guy's checked out. Like, let's just hope that run game shows up, because, I mean, I don't,
Well,
he's not in it.
Let me ask you this real quick, Jake. What's worse? You're a playoff team and you're reading a book on the sidelines, or you're the Jets with Mark Sanchez eating a hot dog on the sidelines? Which one has a worse?
Obviously, yeah. Who was eating the hot dog again?
It was Mark Sanchez.
You know what? There ain't nothing wrong with that. I get hungry all the time, and I'm surprised more people ain't doing it. But no, yeah. So the book is definitely worse. As far as Mike Vrabel goes, and I don't know. I forget exactly how great he took, Tennessee and all that, but
they were the number one seed at one point, 13-3. So he was pretty good over there.
He was a damn good coach.
I think he's a guy that young players are going to go in and respect. I think that the Patriots are far enough moved away from Bill Belichick where you can go in there as a guy like Vrabel and say, like, there isn't this expectation to live up to or anything like that. And I hope that they give him more than 1 year. It's the Patriots are missing a lot of pieces, but I always like the guy. I think of him as same thing as a Dan Campbell, just a guy that guys are going to get fired up for. Mike McCarthy, I know he wasn't really the topic, but I kind of view him as like the Jared Goff of coaches. Like, people, like, he can go into a franchise that's in disarray like the Bears, and they say, God, this guy's won a Super Bowl. He's had this winning team and blah, blah, blah. He's never going to be that guy, I feel like, that really gets you over the finish line and makes you this projected dynasty or whatever. But McCarthy would be a good fit, I think, for a team like the Bears, just from like, if I'm ownership, like, you got to get somebody in here that is like, even if he goes in and bombs it, you can say, hey, look, this guy's resume says it all. We hired him, like, so but yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
Fantastic. Well, look, I'm sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna add for the Vrabel, I think he's gonna do great. I mean, just a couple points. You got Drake May there, and so I mean, I think he showed enough to where he has the capability to be a franchise quarterback. They also have the number one cap space in the league. So as a head coach, Andrew, it's not about always going to the most ready team. It's actually the team that you have the opportunity to build. right? So having your young franchise quarterback on a rookie salary plus the most cap space, he's gonna be able to flip that roster how he wants in 1 year, not have to wait on dead money, not have to wait on bad contracts, all that stuff. So I think and obviously he's on the Ring of Honor there. So I think it was a no brainer, great hire. Even though I hate the Patriots, but I think he's gonna do great there. Um, the AJ Brown stuff. I'm gonna look at it from a father figure type of angle here, and I think he's acting like a spoiled brat, which we kind of already know that. That's kind of obvious. So in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck do you want to throw him the ball? I get his elite talent, but as long as we're winning, go throw your tantrum. That's what I tell my kids. You want a toy? Keep crying. Let me see if I buy you a toy. Keep crying about it. It ain't gonna do nothing. And that's where I think that's where they're at with them. Not as blatant, but it's kind of like, dude, we're gonna do what we do. Read your book, cry about it, do what you need to do. Obviously, it already came out that him and Jalen Hurts ain't even tight anymore, so he already ruined that relationship. So it's like, dude, cry about it. When we need you, we'll throw you the ball. If not, go over there and do what you got to do. Like at this point, you're under contract. We're still winning. Like that's how I feel. Like he's just, I don't know. Why would you want to throw him the ball when he's acting like this? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're calling the offense out when you're on an 11-game winning streak. You're like, get the fuck out of here. Like I don't know. Now you're reading a book. Like I don't know. Yeah, that situation's so weird. And I always, when stuff started coming, I always wondered, and hindsight's 2020, right? We were all shocked when Tennessee traded AJ Brown, right? When
You know what?
did that, right? You know what? I trust Vrabel now. I think he's a stand-up guy. I think he's a stand-up coach. I think he saw this. I think he knew his personality. It was
on draft day when they traded him, Vrabel was shocked. Vrabel knew nothing about it. Vrabel
I don't know.
Was shocked.
Again,
yeah, there was some weird stuff. But either way, bro,
I don't know.
You got.
I don't know how much I trust that, but I'll have to research it. But I'm just saying, it was a shocker. There was obviously something. I don't think ownership just said like, "Oh, we don't want the guy." There had to have been something.
Look.
And at the time, it didn't make sense. But now coming out, right? Maybe Vrabel was shocked. Maybe he didn't think they'd pull the trigger or whatever. But now I feel like there probably was something there. Like, hey, we don't want this guy in our culture. Like, if we can get this for him, let's just trade him. I don't know. Again, this is all speculation. Obviously, it's not fact. I'm just saying it was a weird thing that he got traded. But now with all the drama he's had in Philly, it's kind of like the Antonio Brown thing. You know what I mean? Like when the Raiders got him and this and that, and it's just like, oh yeah, he's gonna just be okay, and then he just keeps acting a fool. We're like, oh, that's what they were talking about in Pittsburgh. You know, like this guy just
look.
I mean, it's not as bad, obviously, but that's what was weird about.
Ben, what you got? Ben, what you got?
Look,
baby?
just before we go to the next segment, we're going to end it with our last predictions segment, okay? But just to kind of recover the show here, we got the Rams. They're going to beat the Philly. We're hating on Sirianni because we don't like him, and now AJ Brown's reading books. Seth is like, fuck all you guys right now. That's basically what he's saying. F you guys and all your media. You're following all the main media stuff, but that's what Seth is saying. Sorry, Seth. That's what happened in today's podcast. But we need to do this predictions thing. We have 8 teams left. Let's go quick to close it out. Which 2 teams are going to make the Super Bowl and who's going to win it? Let's start with you, Drew. And then we'll close out the show with that so we can have it on recording.
Oh, man. I'm going to say, I think from the AFC side, it will be... I think it's going to be the Ravens. And from the NFC side, oh man, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it. I think the Commanders are going to go to the Super Bowl.
Ravens, Commanders.
I think it will be the Ravens.
History, but okay.
Ravens will win it. And
Ravens win. Holy moly. Jacob, what you got?
I'm going to be optimistic, not because I'm just, I'm a fan, but, I do see, the path, the team and all that. Like, I think the Bills pull it off. I think this is going to be a great game with the Ravens. I think they pull it off. I actually, if you had to tell me that, hey, to get to the Super Bowl, Bills got to play the Ravens and the Chiefs, I'd pick the Chiefs all day. I think the Bills, if they beat the Ravens, I don't think they're going to have. I think it's going to be another win for the Bills against Kansas City. But and then I think honestly, like just looking at the NFC right now, I do think it's the Lions' year. I think they're going to make it. I was a little bit skeptical because their defense had so many injuries and all that, but just the way that offense runs, and it seems like they've overcome all these injuries and all that. I think that the Lions are going to do it, and I think that if it's Bills Lions, I think it'll be one of the most viewed Super Bowls in history. Ratings will be through the roof.
Holy moly, Nick. What you thinking, Blinken?
Did you say Bills were going to win it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, if the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, there is zero. I could not muster the words to say that they wouldn't win. The Bills, if it's Bills Lions, Bills take this thing. No more early '90s.
Wow.
So that was my pick. So for guys, we didn't discuss this prior, so I don't have a different pick. So I am going to change it. So I will say Bills Detroit, and I will say Detroit will win the first Super Bowl ever.
Wow.
The same matchup, and I say Detroit ends up winning it. That the curse of the Bills in the Super Bowl come back and haunt them. I'll just switch to the Lions. But that was my Super Bowl matchup. I had the same matchup, and I was leaning Bills, but let's go Detroit.
I'm going to go ahead and be the devil's advocate here. We've been talking a lot about this shit, okay? There's something about this WWE, WWF, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. We all want to chime in to make sure that guy loses, right? The whole fucking world wants to chime in to make sure that guy loses. I'm saying it's Chiefs Detroit in the Super Bowl. And we're going to see the first three-peat ever, all because of this nonsense, you guys. I don't want to... It's, you know why I'm saying it? It's because I don't want it to happen. And every fucking year, what I don't want to happen fucking happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it, but Detroit's that darling team that does it the right way. They're the underdog, even though they're the better team. They're the underdog. And they're just going to ride with this Chiefs bullshit, dude. And I'm sorry, that's not what I want to predict, because I was with you guys. I'm on the Bills Lions train. I don't want to do a third one. That's what I want to happen. I want the Bills and the Lions with Detroit winning. That's what I want. Okay, but that's not what I ever get. Okay, it's gonna be Chiefs Lions and Chiefs win.
There's gonna be an upset, bro. I'm telling you, there's gonna be an upset in this week.
Awesome.
There will be a big upset this week. I guarantee it.
Well, I love it.
You said last week.
No, I didn't. What did I say last week? I said the Commanders are gonna be the Bucks.
Chiefs Detroit with Chiefs on the three-peat. Wow, we all got different winners. So we got Drew has the Ravens going, Ravens winning. Jake has the Bills winning. Nick has Detroit winning. And by God, I really think the Chiefs are going to pull off this fucking circus show. But with that said, guys, we have it on record. We have our predictions. I want to say thank you to all our chatters for filling up our chatting space. Thank you, Jake, Drew, Nick, for joining us here again. We will be back again live next week at 6 p.m. to cover the divisional round. With that said, you guys, okay, peace be the journey.
Peace.
And one love.
Yeah. Dude, I'm sorry, like this extra wild card game, and like these games were crap. Like most of these games were garbage this week. I think you're just